Hello, greetings, and welcome to those who are wanting to know the truth about things. I'm 53 years old now, and I've studied the occult, I've studied the metaphysics, I've studied the Bible, the Quran, and just about all the Hindu stuff. I've been listening to what people have been saying, and there are misconceptions about what things are. The first misconception I would like to begin to address is what meditation actually is. There are many people who are talking about meditative states. There are many people who are talking about focusing things, using the imagination, all sorts of things when they say meditation. What meditation is, simply it is the state of a relaxed mind. A mind that is not being assaulted by the train of thoughts that you yourself programmed. You cannot use the mind to force the mind not to have any thoughts. This is just impossible. You are using the mind to stop the mind from having thoughts. No, misconception. Can't do it. Can't do it. Because you are using the mind. You will never get into a state of the mind being relaxed and not being assaulted by its own self. It is very simple, but very difficult to do this. Very thing that I'm going to explain to you how to do. The very simple explanation is you got to stop asking questions. You got to be like a newborn, just like Jesus said. Jesus didn't mean to be in what are they using? They're talking about anyway, we might get back to that. I forget what they said. Anyway, he said you got to be like a newborn. And when you were a newborn, you looked up in the sky. You didn't ask if it was night or dark. You just looked up there. It was light. It was dark. It was just what it is. Is there clouds? What the cloud shapes are? All these things you programmed into your mind. Is the sky blue? Is it black? All these questions you yourself programmed into your mind to automatically ask. So you created the questioner, and the questioner is out of control. So when you were born, you looked at a tree. You didn't ask what kind of tree it was. You enjoyed it being a tree. You allowed it to be a tree. Once you started learning there were different kinds of trees, you started saying, what kind of tree was that? Is the leaves green? Are they red? Are they yellow? Are they brown? You didn't ask none of this when you were a newborn. This is what Jesus said. You got to be like a newborn. This is what he meant. You got to allow the tree to be a tree. And even the tree, you're not even seeing that tree out there. You are seeing a representative of that tree inside your mind. Because what is actually happening is the light's coming down from the sun, reflecting off that tree. Those photons are hitting your eye, and everything gets turned into brain information. Then your brain takes that information and it does something wonderful. What it does is the second thing that Jesus said. He said, you are the light of the world. He didn't mean that world out there. That light stops at the back of your eyes. It gets turned into brain information. Then the brain accesses the collective consciousness, or the very primary consciousness. Hindus call this the Parabrahma, the supreme consciousness. And it takes the light from that. You are that light that turns that light into this world. You are the light of this world. Also that world too, but a little bit harder to explain. Anyway, so you're an adult, or maybe you're a teenager. By the time you're a teenager, you've fully programmed your ego to tell you what its job is. Its job, the very job of your ego, is to tell you that you are something else other than what you really are. It'll tell you everything. It'll tell you you're a kitchen sink before it tells you what you really are. And the reason for that is it doesn't know. It doesn't know what you really are. It'll tell you you're a piece of toast before it can tell you what you really are. All right, back to meditation. How does this work? How do you get this thing in here under control? You programmed it to be completely out of control. That's why they call it a train of thought. The train is out of control. All right. The train don't got no brakes. It's just out of control. Alright, this is the real method on how to really meditate. Because once you do this, you never have to do it again. And that's how you know these other things that they're teaching you there are baloney. You never have to do this again once you do it properly. You never have to go through meditation sessions. You never have to go into these guided meditations again. That's all using the mind. You can't use the mind to control the mind. Not meditation. Alright. The real way of meditating is this. Beginning to meditate. This is a technique to bring the mind under control. Sit down quietly. And you tell yourself to allow the thoughts to be a thought and not ask a question about it. What's going to happen is the thought's going to arise in your perception. You're going to do something easy, a door. If a door comes up into, it doesn't matter what thought it is, it's every thought. Every thought. Door comes up into your perception, you've already told yourself, allow whatever thought comes up to be just a thought, don't ask a question about it. But what you're going to see is you're automatically going to ask questions about that door. Does it have windows in it? Does it have a doorknob? What color is the doorknob? What kind of doorknob is it? Is it locked? What size is the door? What color is the door? All sorts of questions. Is the door attached to something? If it's attached to something, what is it attached to? What kind of house is it? Does the house have windows in it? What color is the house? What kind of roof does it have on? These things you'll see. You programmed your mind to ask automatically. It's out of control. Your job is to remember not to ask any questions and be able to step in and allow the thought to be a thought and not ask the next question. And if you have the capability, go back to the first thought that you had. But when you first start out, you forget what the first thought you had. So just stop it right there, gently. Don't ever scold yourself that you couldn't do it. Don't ever do that. Don't ever do that. Just allow the thought to be a thought. It arises into your consciousness, and then it will fall away once you allow it to be a thought. The first time, you won't even know how many You won't even know how many questions you asked before you were able to step in. And just allow the thought to be a thought and then to fall away. Gradually, you'll be able to say, well, oh, I asked 20 questions. Oh my goodness, I'm able to step in. Okay. Once you're at that stage, you'll start noticing you couldn't control the first 20 questions. Then it'll drop down to like 15 questions. Then it'll drop down to 12, and you'll see that you're able to step in earlier and earlier into your train of thought and stop it. And once you're able to just allow the first thought to come up into your consciousness and you observe it, it will go away. It'll just fall away. And then you'll get another one. And if you can allow it to be a thought without asking any questions, it will fall away. Then you get another one, and it'll fall away. Now, once you're at that stage, you start noticing the first time it happens, you'll get a thought right away. Next, it comes right up, and you're allowed to be a thought. It'll go away. Then you start noticing there'll be a longer period of time between the first thought and the second thought, and the first thought and the second thought will be like right on top of each other, and they'll be further away from each other, and they'll be further away from each other, and they'll be further away from each other, and be further away from each other. And then what starts happening is you get longer stretches of time between the thoughts. And then what happens is the first thought doesn't come up anymore. This is meditation. Now, depending upon what kind of feedback I get from this, I may tell you the next step, because I've seen the next step. I've seen how I'm in the light. I know exactly what I am. Anyway, this is the first step. It may take a month, it may take a year, it may take 5 years, it may take a whole lifetime to subdue the mind. But when you get the mind back in control, you are in control of the mind now. Up until that point, you've programmed the mind, ego, mind, brain matrix to be in control of you. Oh, and speak of the matrix, this is how you escape the matrix. You got to deprogram the matrix. The matrix programmed you right in here. You allowed it. You yourself were an active participant in programming this brain here to be completely out of control. You'll see how you're not the one who brings up these thoughts if you do this properly. You'll see this questioner that you created doesn't even exist. Doesn't exist. It's the brain, mind, ego matrix that the matrix out there help program right in here. Once you deprogram that, everything out there will look a lot different. You'll see how everything works out there. Oh, well, this may be just the first step in this. Sorry, I'm in my vehicle, but I don't have too much time. I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth. God hasn't given me the lottery. I kind of got to work for a living. Yeah, I know what I am. I know what you are. I know what everything is. But I got to work. Maybe that may change. Maybe not. Nice meeting you all. Maybe you put something in the comments. Might say hi. Ask some questions. Maybe I'll answer them. Bye now.